When did I realize my best friend was love bombing my boyfriend? My best friend Kelsey started bringing lunch to my boyfriend Drew at his office every single day. We'd been friends for 6 years and she'd never even made toast before this. Suddenly she was making these elaborate meals and driving 40 minutes across town just to deliver them to him. She told me, "You're so busy with work lately and someone needs to make sure he eats properly." I actually felt grateful because she was right about me working too much. Drew kept talking about how amazing the food was and how thoughtful she was being. Then the texts started coming in constantly. Good morning text before I was even awake and good night text after I'd already fallen asleep. Every time his phone buzzed, it was her name on the screen. She memorized his coffee order within a week and started buying him these perfect gifts that made mine look terrible. Concert tickets for his favorite band and books he'd mentioned wanting months ago. She even helped plan our anniversary dinner and found this incredible restaurant that had a 3-month waitlist. When I thanked her for being so supportive, she hugged me and said, "That's what best friends do because we make sure you're happy." Something about the way she said it made me uncomfortable, but I ignored it. 2 months later, the emergencies started happening. First, her car broke down right outside Drew's office and only he could help her even though her brother was a mechanic. Then her apartment flooded late one night and she called Drew instead of her landlord or anyone else who actually knew about plumbing. Next, she had a panic attack at the grocery store and Drew left our anniversary dinner to go calm her down while I sat there alone. Every emergency happened when we had plans together and I finally noticed the pattern. After the 5th canceled date, I told Drew she was becoming too dependent on him and he got angry with me for the first time. He said, "Kelsey warned me you might get jealous because she's worried you take me for granted since you work so much." Hearing that made me feel sick because she'd been talking about me behind my back. At her birthday party the next week, Kelsey gave this speech about finding your person and talked about Drew for 5 entire minutes. She called him her rock and safe place while staring right at him the whole time. She only mentioned me once to say I was lucky I found him first, and people were looking between us awkwardly. My mom pulled me aside and whispered that something wasn't right about this whole situation. When I tried talking to Drew about it later, he said, "Kelsey already told me you'd feel threatened by our friendship." She had prepared him for everything I might say before I could say it. Then things got worse because his mom called asking why I missed Sunday dinner when I was never invited. Kelsey was there in my place helping cook and charming his whole family, while telling them I was too focused on my career to care about them. Drew's sister texted asking if we were having problems because Kelsey kept bringing up how worried she was about our relationship. Kelsey joined his gym and started showing up to his basketball games where the guys asked if we'd broken up since she was always there, and I never was anymore. She called herself his work wife on social media and posted pictures of their lunches together with heart emojis that made everyone think they were dating. When I confronted her about it, she started crying immediately and said, "I'm trying to save your relationship by being there when you can't be, so why are you attacking me?" His coworkers went completely silent whenever I visited the office until one finally whispered that Kelsey had been telling everyone I was controlling and didn't let Drew have female friends. 3 days before my birthday, Drew took me to our favorite restaurant, but he'd been cold and distant all week. I was convinced he was about to break up with me and could barely eat my food. Halfway through dinner, Kelsey walked in and headed straight for our table like she belonged there. She tried to sit down and Drew stood up so fast his chair fell over. He told her, "You need to leave right now." She laughed and said he was being dramatic about nothing. That's when he got down on one knee and pulled out a ring while my brain tried to process what was happening. He asked me, "Will you marry me?" I said yes through tears I couldn't control anymore. That's when Kelsey lost it in front of the entire restaurant. She started shouting, "No, no, no, we're together and you need to tell her about us." Everyone stopped eating and stared at her. Drew looked horrified and said, "We've never been together." She pulled out her phone with shaking hands and showed everyone the messages, but they were all one-sided. Hundreds of messages from her and maybe 5 responses from him about work schedules. The manager called security while she kept yelling that I'd poisoned him against her and they were meant to be together. We filed the restraining order that same night. Kelsey was admitted for psychiatric evaluation after the breakdown.